Hey, what's going on, guys? If you own a school or a gym and you want to be able to increase your sales and you want to be able to increase retention, not only with your students, but with your staff, and you want to make that first impression the best impression, especially when you're bringing people into your facility for the first time, then this video is going to be amazing for you because I'm going to reveal 7 different things that I do and that we've trained our team to do so that you can create instant rapport, better charisma, better first impressions that really get people to have that warm feeling and to have a closer connection with you, right? So if you want to go ahead and do that, then definitely check out today's episode of Mindset Monday. All right, so tip number 1, stop scanning around the room. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden you notice them looking over here and they're looking to the other side of you or maybe over your shoulder, but they're not focused in on you? It can be annoying and it breaks rapport. So one of the things that you can teach yourself, your staff, anybody that you have on your team is to make great eye contact and really put those blinders on so that they're not looking around the room. Now, this is especially important when you're giving interviews, when you're having a conversation with somebody for the very first time, and even when you're interacting with your own students. So if you take somebody who's a little bit shy or a little bit unconfident and you can focus in on them and give them that confidence that you hear them and that you hear and see what they're trying to articulate back to you, then you're gonna have a closer connection, right? So it's all about eye contact and stop scanning the room. Tip number 2, get onto their eye level. So I'm gonna give you a few examples of this. Let's say that you're really tall and you have a parent come into your school or gym for the very first time and they're a lot shorter than you. It's okay to have a seat. It's okay to get on their eye level. You don't have to tower over them. And the opposite is also true. So if you're a shorter person and you have somebody really tall come into your school or gym, it's okay to invite them to have a seat with you so that way you guys can be eye to eye. It helps you increase rapport at a much faster pace. Now, the same thing works when you have students, right? So if you have a little kid that comes in and they're having a bad day or they might be upset about something, it's so important to get down on their level. Whether this is you or one of your coaches or instructors dropping down to a knee, or again, having that child sit at the table so that way you can focus in, you can lean in, and you can truly understand what they're trying to say to you, you're gonna notice that that student's guard drops a little bit. They start to feel more comfortable communicating with you, and then they understand that you've heard them. Half the battle when you're working with class management and you're trying to get those kids to have, just the most amazing behavior in your programs is to get them to understand that you care about them and that you hear them. They just want to know that you are connecting with them. And the fastest way to do it is to get to an eye-to-eye level, whether that's with your students, with your families, your parents, your staff, anybody. That is an important way to establish that you are understanding where they're coming from. Okay, tip number 3, this is all about our hands. Don't hide your hands. So there's a lot of ways that people hide their hands, whether it's them crossing their arms like this and you can't see their hands, or maybe sometimes they even put their hands in their pockets. You don't want to hide your hands because that causes you to come off unconfident or even insecure in some cases. So instead, you want your hands to be visible. And a lot of times when I talk, whether I'm having a conversation one-on-one like we are now, or if I'm presenting on stage to a group, or maybe even doing a group interview or a one-on-one interview, my hands are present and they're visible. Now, why is this effective? Well, I'm going to share with you a couple different tips, tricks, and strategies. Number 1 is because it helps you articulate your message. So you can have precise hand gestures when you want people to lean in and focus, right? So you can put your hands together, you can do small patterns like this, or if you want to show that you're confident and that you're very excited about your message, you want to do very wide, very large hand gestures, especially when you're on stage or giving a presentation at a staff training. You want to use your arms and your body movement to articulate and to match and pattern with what you're saying. So it's either small, precise, or large and confident to get your message across the first time. All right, number 4, you want to be okay and you want to encourage, especially when you're doing sales, for people to go deep to share their concerns. So when you're enrolling children, there's a lot of reasons why they're coming to your programs, whether it's the program that you offer at night, or if it's your after school or summer camp program, they always want to share why they're there. So I want to encourage you and your staff members to lean in and to get close, especially if they have something that they want to share with you that's more of the personal side. So if they start sharing that their child, has confidence issues, or maybe their child is insecure because they might be a little bit overweight or out of shape, it's okay. Let that parent talk, lean in, tunnel vision, make sure that you make eye contact to the point where everything else is blurry, and let them speak. And one thing that I don't want you to do, and a lot of owners make this mistake, and a lot of salespeople make this mistake, is when somebody starts talking about something that's like sensitive in nature and maybe a little bit uncomfortable, all of a sudden they start to hide their hands. You don't want to be the person that hides your hands, and you don't want to be the person that starts looking away. Let them know that they've been understood. So again, lean in, have that tunnel vision, and when they start going deep, you want to say things like, I understand, I totally get it. And then you want to bridge the gap with social proof. You can start to share other examples of how parents, just like them, have brought their children in for the same exact reasons, and then future pace them and talk about how now their children are doing well, and so is your child. So you can start to really illustrate what an amazing future that their child is going to have in your program. So don't be afraid to go deep. Tip number 5, it's all about facial expressions. So anytime that I meet someone for the first time, or if I have a conversation, I always light up. My smile gets bigger, my eyebrows raise, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same. So anytime that somebody walks in, or let's say that you're having a conversation here and somebody comes in to join that conversation, it's okay to smile, welcome them into the conversation, and to continue going. You don't want your eyebrows and your face to have a serious tone all the time, or a frown. A lot of times people, when they focus, they try to frown like this and they don't realize they're doing it. So instead, be lighthearted, be open. It's okay to lift your eyebrows. It's okay to smile, because that is going to show feelings of warmth. It's going to show feelings of connection, and people are going to build faster rapport with you. And that's exactly what you want to increase that level of communication. Number 6, it's all about mirroring the person that you're speaking with. So if you have somebody that's very animated and they're talking quickly, you want to match that tone. Or on the flip side, if you have somebody that is a more kinesthetic or more grounded communicator, you want to slow down, you want to use slower hands motions, and you want to match their communication pattern. Now, there are 3 distinct ways that people will regularly communicate. They talk about the auditory with what they hear, they talk about things that are visual with what they see, or they talk about how they feel about something, which is kinesthetic. So once you identify if they are a visual communicator, an auditory communicator, or a kinesthetic communicator, then you have a much easier opportunity to build high levels of rapport and to match that communication style instantly from the moment that they start communicating with you. Okay, number 7, it's all about that first handshake and that touch. So we're gonna call this concept the second touch. So it's one thing if you shake somebody's hand and say, hey, it's great to meet you. But it's another thing if you shake their hand and you put your hand on top just for a second, it's great to meet you. Or you touch their elbow, it's great to meet you. Or in some cases when appropriate, shake their hand, touch their shoulder, hey, it's great to meet you. So having that second touch really locks in that great first impression with the handshake. With all 7 of those tips, now you can have the confidence to go forward, communicate at a higher level, build instant rapport, and I want you to share this video with your team and get them to practice some of these strategies with each other and with you as the owner. And very soon, you're gonna start to see not only yourself creating faster relationships, but your team is going to do that as well. So where does this play out? In your school and gym? Easy. You're gonna have faster rapport, which means quicker enrollments, higher retention. You're gonna be able to bring on more rock stars to your team and keep them longer, and you're going to be able to paint this amazing picture of what it's like to do business with you or to work on your team. And at the end of the day, that equals growth and success. So if you have any questions, we're always happy to help. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode of Mindset Monday.